now.
Can they? Because I don't think even. Oh, yes, you're right. Oh, yes, you're right. Correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of a delay. A little bit.
Yeah, I'll kill you. I mean, yeah, I understand.
Oh, wow.
What? No,
Oh, wow. Just wow.
Wow. Wow. Wow. See, look at that. I've been practicing that one. Someone requested. That's what I do.
Wow, you learn things?
I love my fans.
All right, let me close some of this other stuff.
Oh shit, it's raining now.
Oh wow, I got 3 names into adding people to the Excel sheet. I said I was gonna do the giveaway on Friday, but I'm bad at it. So there's 3 names on here, so one of them are gonna win. Just joking, everybody.
Okay. Yeah. And your defense, has been a busy week in gaming news and stuff.
It's been pretty busy, is actually what happened. Yes. Okay. Hello everybody. You guys should see us now. You can hear us. We should be pretty good on levels. Might notch me up a bit.
Did you play anything? You didn't change your.
I didn't change anything. Let me think here.
I don't know if you need to.
I did. Yes. Ocarina of Time.
Yes, really.
Yep. Okay. All right. I have the rundown here. So as you're doing it, I could do that. The video looks good. Let me check the audio for everybody. So, when I tested it with Africa last time, it gave us a copyright warning. I'm like, oh wow, okay. Well, I guess that makes sense.
Wow, how about that? It's almost like I was like, we shouldn't use that.
Well, I don't think that's a good reason.
Imagine that. More tunes. Maybe later, Risky. Maybe later. Somebody, I think they were being facetious. Somebody commented in our last video how much I had to tip to get Mike to stop playing the flute.
Oh, wow.
I was like, rude.
All right, you guys can hear that?
I sent that one message in the wrong place. I hear it.
You can hear it. Good. All right. And they can hear it because it's showing up here. It's not very loud, but that's fine.
What is that?
Layton. Professor Layton.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. All right. Mike, I'm good, I think. I'm good. I'm ready.
I get one more stretch in.
That's not a bad idea.
Oh, that feels good.
Yeah, get the blood into the extremities. Yeah. Oh, this is gonna be
okay. I don't like the way you sound when you stretch.
Everyone clip this part.
Yeah, I don't like that anymore. Okay. Oh, my back kind of hurts now. That's good. All right. Barely stretched some muscles that have not moved in a long time.
All right. Should I do a countdown?
Yes, you should.
All right. I'm gonna do that. Then I hit the button. Okay. 5, 4, 3.
Hey, you guys hear me? Start cheering now! Yeah, let's get this over with. Yeah.
Woof woof. Hi, I am Mike Minotti, and I am a Nintendog.
Hi, I am Jeff Grubb, and I am a Nintendog.
And we are the last of the Nintendogs. Today, we are talking about our favorite GameCube games. Mario's dead, and now Dr. Mario's gonna die too. And Monster Hunter Rise is selling a lot. So we're gonna get to that. Now, there's also some more breaking Activision Blizzard news to talk about.
Yes.
We'll get to that first. But Jeff, first, how are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm doing pretty good. I have a problem. I actually don't have it here, but let me I'll just have the box here, so I'll just show that.
You have just one problem? Because that would surprise me.
Okay, that's a good point. It's a very good point. But I have like a very specific problem that is relevant to this podcast, and
Ooh.
I can't stop buying these little handhelds. I keep buying them. I bought another one. I didn't even like think about it. It was like on Amazon. It was like $40. It's like a one that's like a GBASP.
How many of these do you need, Jeff?
I don't know if we need to talk about the word need. That's
I have none of these, to be clear. I have 0.
Listen, I do like to play games on handhelds. I like that a lot.
I know you do, but how many do you need?
I don't need very many. I don't need as many as I have. But I'm around the kids a lot and I want to play. But the problem is I'm starting to get a lot of overlap where this thing does not do much that some of the other things do.
Right.
And those things do them, like in so many cases, they do them better. So I just got this thing because it was cute, I think. I mean, that
thing looks like a Game Boy Advance SP, right?
Yes.
Like, that's the appeal.
Yes, exactly. And it like I like it because I if I do take these things with me, I don't want to take the ones that were like $100 and don't clamshell.
What's that one called? What's that one called?
This is a POW Kitty V90, I think. Excuse me.
POW Kitty V90.
Yes. And I mean, it's pretty good. It runs like Game Boy Advance games really well. And everything else from that era, but it also has like PlayStation stuff on there. It doesn't do PlayStation 2 well though. That's the problem. But oh well. I still like it. It's a problem now, and I'm definitely gonna get.
I agree.
I'm definitely gonna get the Analog Pocket if I can, get a chance to pre-order that again.
I'm sure you already pre-ordered the Cranky Crank machine.
I was about to, but their PR reached out to me, thank God, so I didn't have to actually do that one.
So you're just getting one. Okay,
so
great.
I'm just getting one. Right, exactly.
Great. Free cranks.
Yeah.
Corrupt cranks.
I love to crank. I need as many cranks as I can possibly get.
Did you also buy one of those small Game Gear keychains too?
I did, from Japan. Like, it's not even out here. I know.
You don't even like the Game Gear, do you?
I don't like the Game Gear. I am coming to you asking for help, Mike.
Well, I'm telling you, stop being a bad person. I don't know. I can't help you too much. You're awful, and you do bad things.
That's it's good to get this off my chest. I'm probably gonna have another new one by next week. Who knows?
All right, if you buy another one, you're giving it away to our listeners here. That's what I'm saying.
Here's what I'll do: a video on all of them, talk about what I like, talk about my favorites, and then I will start giving them away. That's a good idea.
There you go. To me. All right, Jeff, are you ready for some more Activision Blizzard news?
Yeah, let's talk about this. It's kind of a tradition now with this podcast where it happens way before this. So,
well, they do release games on Nintendo's console, so it's not like it's completely unrelated.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, but this morning, pretty early in the morning, Activision Blizzard announced that J. Allen Brack is no longer the president of Blizzard. Jen O'Neill, who was actually the head of Vicarious Visions, which just got absorbed into Blizzard earlier this year. She's now going to co-lead the studio of Mike Ybarra, who joined Blizzard in 2018, and before that he was with Xbox actually. Right. So those are going to be the new co-heads of Blizzard. Both of them kind of outsiders, like technically with the company. Ybarra with the company for a few years, but I think it's very clear that they are saying these people are not as tainted by like the history of that toxic fraternity-like culture as maybe some of the other choices we may have expected to become the new president are, right? Like, this isn't a co-founder. This isn't somebody who's been working on World of Warcraft since 2005 or 2004. These people are relatively newer executives there.
Right, and no company is free of this stuff completely, but I know like Microsoft has pretty good track record of trying to stay on top of these things and like taking a lot of corporate training very seriously, and so bringing in someone that has that legacy is going to help. And Vicarious Visions, you never hear anything but good things about them. So yeah, and also you said it's Jen O'Neill. That's a woman, right? So that helps too.
Right. And yeah, and I think, and not that she's not qualified aside from, like I said, she's, Vicarious Visions track record has been better than Blizzard's. Like,
absolutely.
Maybe Blizzard should have become a support studio for Vicarious Visions.
Maybe.
I don't know. Yeah. But, she also did fantastic work there. So I think these are both, I know less about Ybarra. Jen O'Neill also talked at our GamesBeat events before.
Okay, I think Ybarra might have been at a GamesBeat event too as well.
Yes.
Mike, I see some people in chat asking, and I think we know the answer to this. But so when is it Bobby Kotick's turn to step down?
So, I mean, well, first off, I don't know if Brack stepped down. I think he was
Right.
pushed out by Kotick. And, I mean, look, the timing of this is largely in because their earnings are being reported today, so they had to do something to say that. Kotick's not going to fire himself. The only way he is out is if, the shareholders turn against him. And it's one of the reasons why this is happening now. That's probably not going to
Right.
happen.
This is all happening. Like, this is all happening because this is what Bobby Kotick wants, right? That's what this is the idea that we're having here, right? Because J. Allen Brack stepping down and gives him some pressure off when he does to go to report the earnings today. And this is not like some thing coming from outside that is like, oh, you have to do this, Bobby Kotick. It's like, no, like, this is what I'm going to do to make sure that the pressure gets off of me. It's a little bit of scapegoating, right? That kind of is what it feels like.
It's kind of scapegoating, but I also don't want it to be like, oh, Brack did nothing wrong.
Of course not.
I mean, look, Brack's been in charge at Blizzard for a few years, since 2018. And it's not been a good tenure. And, I guess you can argue how much of it is his fault or not, but he's the guy in charge. The buck stops with him. But we had, the Hong Kong Hearthstone thing. We had Warcraft 3 Reforged, the kind of reputation of World of Warcraft tanking even before all this stuff. And now this lawsuit from California. It's, like, how much worse do things have to get, right?
Yep.
And it's not like I've been seeing a lot of Blizzard employees or ex-Blizzard employees coming out and be like, "Oh no, don't put the blame on Brack," right?
Right.
There hasn't been a whole lot of people jumping to his defense or anything, and I think he had to go. I think that this was a move we kind of all saw coming. I mean, it does benefit Kotick, it absolutely does, but I think it's still probably the right call. There needs to be big changes at Blizzard. Yeah, I think I wish Bobby would go too. I just don't know how that happens. Again, that's going to be totally up to the board and to shareholders and stuff like that. And we'll get a feeling of that during the earnings call today, just how mad investors are and how many questions they have. And, I don't know, maybe there will be a question like, are you going to step down? Maybe that'll happen.
Right.
And we'll hear what he says. He's going to say no, but we'll see how he justifies all of that.
Yeah. Just to speak to that point, there's been lots of talks of lawsuits against Activision Blizzard from shareholders. These are things like if shareholders feel like they weren't given adequate heads up about something that could affect share price, then the company could get sued. I think one of those have already been filed, and there will probably be more than that. So, that's something to keep an eye on. It's definitely something that will probably come up today during the investor call.
Right. Like, the actual earnings won't reflect too much of what's been happening because the earnings period will be before all of this happened, I think, right? Yep. But the questions are where things are going to be interesting there. So, I mean, later the same day, a kind of new coalition of Activision Blizzard employees called the ABK Workers Alliance. It's Activision Blizzard King is what ABK stands for. They released a letter that IGN published that kind of reiterating, they had those 4 demands that they were asking for that haven't really been sort of addressed yet. The demands were an end to mandatory arbitration clauses in all employee contracts, the adoption of recruiting, interviewing, hiring, and promotion policies designed to improve representation among all employees, publication of data on relative compensation, and a task force to hire a third party to audit the company's reporting structure and HR department and executive staff. Now, what Activision Blizzard did was that they hired that law firm, Wilmer Hale, and this letter is basically criticizing that decision and saying it can't be these guys, it needs to be something else, and also saying that all of their points have remained unaddressed here. The letter I don't think even mentioned J. Allen Brack or anything like that. The letter was probably even written before this, really, if it came out today.
Yeah. This is not going to go away. We'll have more about this in the future, I'm sure. But like right now, I'm like ready to hear what these earnings are going to be like, see what happens next. I bet that I bet getting rid of J. Allen Brack doesn't actually change much. It doesn't. I don't think it's going to like cool the temperature within Blizzard or anything like that. Very much so. I bet we'll still be talking about this a lot.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's there's so many questions like what does management? I think it is good. I think one of the problems with Brack is that since he came up, especially with that World of Warcraft team, like a lot of people were his friends, and now he was their boss. Like he was, probably close to Asfarabi, right? Or I think that's his name. And we know it's mentioned in that report. Like he was kind of like lenient with them, and he would kind of like give him a slap on the wrist when he was misbehaving. And it wasn't until last year he was finally fired. It seemed like he should have been let go forever ago. it's one of these problems where you have this big culture of, oh, we're all a big family here. Sometimes families are weird and awful and let bad things happen because, oh, your family.
Right.
I forgive, right? I forgive
Right.
you. Maybe it's not a good thing. So doing a refresh on leadership, I'm slightly optimistic about that. Again, it depends on these people, but I think it's a good thing. I think it needs to happen. I think that you have to have that if you're going to change the culture.
Yep.
And we'll see if they can. It's a tall order, but at least something's happening.
What else is happening in the world of Nintendo?
Well, so Capcom released some numbers, and among that was that Monster Hunter Rise has now sold over 7 million copies on the Switch. Those are pretty good numbers, especially like those are almost Nintendo numbers, but for a third-party game. And Monster Hunter Rise is, I think, one of those like super big third-party games on the Switch that you can almost associate like in that same level as Luigi's Mansion 3 or something.
Right.
Again, Luigi's Mansion 3 is like this kind of interesting barometer for me because that one sold 10 million. So it's like, man, that seems bizarrely good. And Monster Hunter Rise is probably going to get to that 10 million number at some point. To give you some idea of comparison, Monster Hunter World, which is the one that came out a few years earlier, and it came out on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC, that has sold over 17 million copies.
Yeah.
But man, this series is like since World, right? They cracked the Western market
keeps getting
finally.
bigger and bigger. Yep, it's like we always heard about Monster Hunter from Japan. I mean, I know that it had its fans in the West before that, but forever it was like the biggest thing in Japan. Like you would talk about games, we talk about what's the biggest thing in the world, and Monster Hunter would always come up. Be like, keep in mind, like people camp out for this stuff, and whenever a new game comes out, it's all anyone plays over there. So, but now they've really been able to grow it worldwide, and now it has a similar following around the world. So. Yeah, and you're right. It's since World like was a very good way to like get more people into it by sanding off some of the rough edges and making it like just look really, really great and releasing it everywhere. And now they can kind of have these two things keep going, like have another Rise, have another World, and just keep going in those two different directions, and have one on the Switch dedicated to like handheld gaming. And I think it's going to work out really well for them.
Yeah, it was a bit of an investment to say we're making a separate Monster Hunter kind of series for the Switch. It's not just going to be like an adaptation of Monster Hunter World,
right?
And that paid off really well because they made a game that really plays off the Switch's strengths. It was able to kind of differentiate itself from World in some interesting ways. And yeah, like there's definitely going to be a Monster Hunter World 2, and there's going to be a Monster Hunter Rise 2, and they are both going to sell millions and millions of copies. Man, Capcom sure to seem to be in a pretty good spot compared to a lot of these other companies lately, huh?
Yeah. Yes, they've really figured out like what works for them. They leaned really hard into the stuff that was the biggest success, and they just kind of forgot everything else, and it's working. I mean, it helps if you have a franchise that is as popular as Monster Hunter or Resident Evil, but they really have not dropped the ball on either of those things. Even when they have had even like minor missteps, those always just feel like they are part of a continuation of getting to where they want these franchises to be in the first place. So it always kind of leads to them having more success down the road.
So do you think we're getting that Resident Evil Switch exclusive game?
Yeah, I bet we will. I bet that's coming. Yeah, that seems to make a lot of sense. Capcom has had a lot of success with the Switch. Resident Evil's had some history with the Nintendo, with like Resident Evil 4 on GameCube,
and then the Resident Evil Revelations on DS.
Yes, exactly. So this could work. Yeah, 3DS. This could work really well for them.
So, free content came to new Pokemon Snap. Introduced 20 new Pokemon you can discover, some kind of new paths through levels, including a section where you can shrink down to photograph some bug Pokemon. Jeff, this almost just kind of made me feel bad about new Pokemon Snap because I'm somebody who, like, for probably 20 years was like, they should make a new Pokemon Snap. And then they did, and I haven't touched it. I haven't played it. I haven't bought it.
I'm gonna buy it. I am going to get it eventually. It hasn't fit into my life in any way recently, and we didn't review it, so it was like it kind of passed us by. But if I'm gonna take some time off here pretty soon. That might be the kind of game that I would just want to play when I want to chill out. It seems like a kind of like vacation game. Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, this is what we're gonna do tonight, everybody. Like, I'm sure the kids would enjoy that sort of stuff. So have them come watch me play. But I'm glad that they're supporting it, and it does seem like it was pretty successful. It seems like it did pretty good.
Oh, sure. I mean, it's a Pokemon game. Are you excited?
Right.
Do you like bugs? Your kids like bugs? Are they going to like the
Yes,
bug
my kids
Pokemon?
love bugs. Yes, they really do.
I mean, they're named Grubb, aren't they? So-
Yeah, good point. They love bugs. They love ants especially, but all kinds of bugs. And they'll go out there. And my wife hates most of them, and I hate spiders. But they have I got my girls like little vests, like explorer vests, and like little bug containment things. And they go out there like almost like every day and try to find ants and stuff.
That's cool.
So I bet they'll enjoy this. That's a good point.
Yeah. You know, Vitor FC sent us a super chat, and we'll get to that later when we get to our questions. But yes, if you guys have questions, you can send it in for super chats, and we're gonna be talking about favorite GameCube games later. If you want to tell us about your favorite GameCube game, you can send that in via a super chat as well. I can hear Jeff typing away a message there to remind people about the super chats. But yes, feel free to go ahead with that. All right, Jeff. Now we have some sad news here. Dr. Mario. We know he hasn't been doing well for a while now. He's been on a ventilator. He's going to pull the plug himself. Self-euthanation, right? Is that what it's called? Yeah, on November 1st. Yeah. On November 1st, Dr. Mario World on mobile is ending service here. Jeff, is this just about Dr. Mario World not doing well, or is this about Nintendo's whole mobile strategy kind of
I bet there's a little bit of both, right? There's probably a little bit of like, we don't need to be worried about mobile so much right now. We've known they felt that way for a bit, where a lot of these games just didn't do what they expected them to do, and they're doing fine on Switch, so they don't need to like be making such a huge investment into mobile. But Dr. Mario seems like one that was specifically ignored by most players. Like I'd be surprised. I'll put a poll in chat, but I'll ask, have you even played this game? Did you ever even install it? Which I did not. I never even tried it. So. No. And if a Dr. Mario game came out on like Nintendo Switch Online, I bet I would try it. I'm not the biggest Dr. Mario fan, but I bet I would try it. But on mobile, I just don't care.
I think it's like, I don't really care about Dr. Mario that much. Again, if it was like a free thing on my Switch, like here's Dr. Mario, like all right, that's fine. But yeah, it's weird because you think mobile puzzle games, sure, and that's probably what they were thinking. But I think there's a reason why very specifically like the match 3 thing works, because it's very easy to do. Even when you're like start having to like turn shapes on mobile, it becomes slightly more annoying and frustrating. So, but again, Nintendo's whole mobile strategy happened because they were transitioning from the Wii U and they wanted to diversify. But then the Switch became a giant hit, and they don't need to diversify anymore.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they still want to keep an eye on it. I bet Fire Emblem Heroes still does pretty well. I guess I haven't looked at the charts in a while. If a game gets into the top 10 on the grossing charts, it is like good for around $1 billion a year. Like there's a lot of money to be made there. But most of these games, I don't think we're ever kind of getting to that high. So they're like probably, they're a tier or two down. I think Mario Kart is one they continue to support a lot. I bet that is doing, it probably is making some money. I mean, it has like that monthly pass that you can buy into, like a subscription. Right. So I bet some of these games are doing fine. But if a game is just sort of like, going on fumes, or like on a ventilator or whatever, like you're gonna pull the plug.
How's Dragalia Lost doing?
I have a game I haven't even thought about in forever.
Even Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, right? Like you thought that would have been a big thing. You thought it would have got like a boost maybe when New Horizons came out as a giant hit. Like not really. I'm sure there was some kind of a boost, but nothing crazy. What was the first thing that they released that wasn't really a game? That first mobile thing.
Miitomo, or
was it even called Miitomo? I can't remember. Yeah, that weird thing.
Miitomo. Yeah, Miitomo.
And we all downloaded it because it was Nintendo's first mobile game.
I liked it, but it was definitely.
Of course you did.
Yeah, of course I did. Right, but it wasn't. Yeah, you're right. It came and went really fast, like most of the stuff with Nintendo.
Yeah. Yes. All right, we have a bunch of questions here from our Patreons and our followers over on the Discord. If you're not on the Discord, you should join us there. Jeff, do we have our special link still from Discord for that? Yeah, I think we got it back. Discord.gg/GameMess. So thank you everybody who's been boosting the server. That helps us get that. Hopefully, eventually we'll get approved for like being get a check mark on Discord, and then we could just have that forever. But for now, we have to keep boosting it. But people have been doing that, so we have Discord.gg/GameMess. It's free to join. There are ways though. There are secret channels in there. You get in that by going to Patreon.com/JeffGrubb, which I think I am this week going to change to Patreon.com/GameMess. We'll figure that out. Let me address this right now. Everyone's very upset that I'm drinking out of a Subway cup and not an Arby's cup right now. Look, yes, I did go to Subway today. Look, the Arby's aren't open indoors yet, and when I go to lunch, since I work at home, I do like to sit inside of a restaurant. So I go to Subway. Look, don't make me keep an Arby's cup here, so I have to pour my pop into it. Like, I'm not going to be inauthentic like that. But yes, I go to Subway sometimes too. I don't love Subway the way I love Arby's. It's not a portrayal. I just see Subway on the side sometimes.
Yep. I mean, you gotta mix it up sometime to keep that love alive with Arby's. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Yes. Look. I don't eat Arby's every day. I'm not a cartoon character.
Right. All right. I'm glad you made that public statement to address these concerns of the crowd. Yeah.
That's right.
Let's get these questions.
Yes. If you guys have a question again, you can send it in via super chat. I saw we already had a couple of those, but let's get to our Patreon friends first. Nick Turbo asks, "Do you think the Switch Pro will have an SSD?" Or we have to wait until next gen? I sure hope it does. The two versions of the Steam Deck are going to have SSD, and it seems like that more so than anything else is why people upgraded. Like, once I realized that lowest version didn't have an SSD, it was really out of the running for me. And there are some games on Switch. The World Ends With You, Neo: The World Ends With You. That is one where for the first time I was like, I am really missing an SSD on the Switch because these load times are actually bothering me, and I am getting very spoiled now because everything else I play games on now has an SSD. It's becoming a de facto, and it's very painful and obvious when it's not on Nintendo right now. So what do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean,
it's going to be expensive to put in. That's the only issue. We know Nintendo wants to keep costs down.
Right. They're using cheap eMMC memory, and even then, they're only putting in a very tiny bit. So they clearly care about cost, and I understand that's like their number one concern. I do think a Switch Pro with an SSD would be a no-brainer at that point. They really could sell it for $400 easily, and no one would really complain, I think, at that point. I mean, people would complain, but the SSD would make it very much like, no, this makes a lot of sense. This thing is going to be significantly faster in a lot of ways that improve your quality of life when you're playing the games. But it does seem too soon for Nintendo. It seems unlikely. I don't know. I mean, they could do it. There's no reason they couldn't, in terms of the tech, in terms of the sizing, they could fit an SSD in there, no problem. The SSDs are small. But I just, in terms of Nintendo and cost, I don't know.
I mean, look, we might not even have to wait for the next gen Switch. We could be getting a Switch Pro this year, and then the next year getting the Switch Pro SSD, right?
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
Yeah, right? Like, who knows?
Yeah.
I wish we'd get it on the next one because, I'm starting to really notice its absence.
Mm-hmm.
From Slippery Fished, do you think Nintendo missed a beat by not releasing follow-up versions of NES Classic with different collections of games? Examples like rarities, sports, action, adventure. Should Nintendo resurrect old IP from the NES days with a fresh look, and what would be? So two different questions here. First off, about the kind of like different versions of the NES Classic with different game libraries, like a sports edition. I don't know. I think I think at a certain point, people are just going to be like, why aren't they just all in one thing? Because they're NES games, right? Now, I think they maybe could have done it anyways and made money, but Nintendo's been so weird about these retro consoles. They made $1 zillion, but they don't want to do much with them. But I don't know, like what else could you do? Like the base one had the bases covered pretty well. A sports one, I think, would be interesting. I don't know how many people really want to play a ton of different 8-bit sports games. I think they all want to play like Bases Loaded, Tecmo Bowl, golf, and pro wrestling. I'm not sure what else you would really want. And again, just put those 4 games on a normal NES Classic Edition.
Right. Yeah, I think this is you don't want any of these things sitting on shelves for too long, because this is like a limited time thing that they're doing, and you kind of want to just have like the one collector thing that is like the thing, and that increases the demand, I think. Now, yeah, I get that some people would go back and want to get all of them, or want to get specific ones that they like, has games they really want. But I think the reason a lot of those games weren't included is just because they don't want to deal with any of the rights stuff, or deal with those issues, and they don't want to like have to explain that this is like, this is a series of things, and if you want to have it all, you have to come back here and get it. Like, no, like if you want to participate in the old Nintendo stuff, just get the one thing, and then you don't have to like swap it out and put in another one of these tiny Nintendo things when you want to play different games. I don't think that would be a very easy sell. Some people would do it and it would sell, obviously, I guess. But in terms of explaining it to a wider audience, the audience that definitely came into the NES Classic, that would be more difficult.
Now I'm going to be the guy this way to do it. The good news is modding an NES Classic is actually very easy, and like I'm not good at that stuff, but I was able to do it, and it is definitely something you should do.
Wow, we're never getting out of Nintendo jail. Wow.
Well, no, but it is great. I'll tell you what, it's pretty fantastic. Like it's even still all there, like in that format. It's very good stuff. I'm not gonna tell you how to do it, but I think you guys can figure it out. You know how Google works. Should Nintendo resurrect old IP from the NES days with a fresh look, and what would it be? The only IP that they haven't really done anything with almost since the NES days is Star Tropics that I can think of immediately. Unless you're like, there's some stuff they haven't done much with lately, like Kid Icarus. Star Tropics is a big one, and yes, I absolutely would love to see Star Tropics come back. The thing that's been holding it back forever is that it was never released in Japan, so it's like a little awkward. Like, what is this to them? But they'll get over it. Just it's probably going to be a reboot remake anyways, and they'll just go with something new. They'll be excited.
I like those NES remix games that came out for the Wii U, but they weren't as good as they could have been. Like it was just for people who don't know, this is like it takes like snippets from all these games and you play them back to back or whatever. But it wasn't like very fast paced. Like you played like one little snippet and then you went back to the menu and then you selected the next snippet and you started. It wasn't like WarioWare or something like that. And I think they could have like amped up the speed and really like, and then also done like visual tricks to the games to make them like pop out and make the sprites bigger, add particle effects or whatever. They could have done like make it like a Pac-Man Championship Edition DX or whatever. I think that's the stuff that they could do with these old games from the NES and do like an NES Remix 3 or NES Remix HD or something like that.
Anderson64 asks, will Nintendo ever offer GameCube games on Switch in some fashion? Also, why can't we play Ocarina on Switch? To your first point, I mean, Sunshine's on there in some fashion, and I think that's the fashion we will be getting GameCube games. They're going to be like part of like very specific compilations or like separate like remakes or remasters, like a Wind Waker. Like we'll get Wind Waker and Twilight Princess on there, and it'll be the same thing. I do not think we're going to get like a GameCube section in Nintendo Switch Online. I don't think we're going to get like the GameCube collection, which is like here's all like 20 GameCube games in one bundle, like the Genesis collection or anything like that. I think it's just going to be very specific case by case games. And honestly, I think it's probably not going to be anything aside from those Zelda games, Sunshine, and like Metroid Prime 1 and 2 when that trilogy comes out. I don't think we're ever going to get Melee on the Switch.
Right.
I wish. I don't think we're gonna get like Billy Hatcher or like Pikmin 1 even or Beautiful Joe. I don't know. I think it's just going to be like with Sunshine.
Mike is correct. I agree.
Wow, thank you. Also, why can't we play Ocarina of Time on Switch? I don't know. That is weird, huh?
Yeah. That's what I'm going to be talking about this week, trying to play that game. So, I think it's just them waiting to see what they're going to do with Nintendo 64 games. They might go the path of more collections, more bundles, like that they sell you, or maybe they put in 64 games on Switch Online. I bet they're considering both, and they still haven't decided.
They have options with Ocarina, which is because they could just put the Nintendo 64 version up. They could try to adapt that 3DS version to Switch, or they can just remake it like once again, right? Which maybe you might need to do if you're putting it on Switch. Like maybe that 3DS conversion won't be good enough. I don't know.
Right.
But it should be on there in some form or another. Jayton, we'll go
Jayton, I think, yeah.
What is a Mario Kart course you both went back in Mario Kart 9 or Mario Kart 10 if Tour is canonical? My number one is Coconut Mall. That's pretty good. I like all the Koopa Beach levels from the older games.
Yeah, that's good. That was going to be my answer because it's the only thing I remember. There was a really good shortcut on, was that the Nintendo 64 one or the GameCube one? Where you had to like hit the ramp and get into like the
yes,
rocks.
That's the 64 one.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't remember the name, but the one where you're on the cruise ship in Double Dash is fantastic.
Yeah.
There was a ton of good ones in Mario Kart 8, actually.
That's the thing. Mario Kart 8 has so many good levels that I'm like really happy with it.
There's the one where you're going through the the clouds and the storm, and it's playing the Mario Galaxy song.
Yeah, Cloud Top something. Yes, it's fantastic.
Right. Waluigi Pinball. It was from, I think that was on like one of the DS ones or something. There's a lot of very good courses, and they usually are pretty good. Like that's what's neat about the Mario Kart formula. I think they figured it out starting with DS. Like half the courses are new, and half of them are just like bringing stuff back from the older games, and that's always fantastic.
Yep. And they always fully remake them. So yeah, it's great.
Jodicus says you guys should start a segment of games Nintendo should make but never will, be it sequels to games they have never done and probably never will, or use an IP in a certain way, cover one a week. Just an idea. I think it's an interesting idea. I don't know how many more segments we want to push in here, but we can certainly do that right now. Games Nintendo should make but never will. Man, I mean, I bring up Star Tropics every time, and that's one. I don't think they are actually going to make a new Star Tropics. The other one we talked about this before is like get way forward to do a remake of Zelda 2.
Yes,
I think that would be fantastic. Jeff, do you have any ideas?
I think they should give Star Fox Adventures another shot with the maybe a different developer.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Interesting. Yeah,
he almost choked on his subway. Yeah, I think Star Fox Adventures works really well as an idea, as a concept.
Yes.
I think Fox is a cool character. I think that it's a pretty cool universe. That just Rare wasn't great for making a Zelda at that time, right? That was Rare, right?
Yes.
It just wasn't as great as like exactly what they were trying to go for. But the concept itself, I think, is very good. I think they could try another one, and it would be fantastic, actually.
Okay, I got one for you. F-Zero beat 'em up.
Yeah, that's a lot. There's a lot of great characters that would be fantastic for that.
Right? I mean, come on. Like it's funny because like I think about Captain Falcon. He's the star of F-Zero, but what I think is Falcon Punch.
Yes, for real.
Just give me a beat 'em up where I can do the Falcon Punch. Yeah.
I would want an open world F-Zero city game. I think I talked about this before, where you explore the Mute City or whatever in the streets, like from that F&B sequence at the beginning of the game.
So like F-Zero Paradise City.
Yeah. Like, no, like F-Zero, but it's Yakuza. Like you're actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now I think I kind of like the F-Zero Paradise idea.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good too. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
There's a lot of fun things you can. Well, what can we possibly do with F-Zero?
I know, right? We just came up with like 2 or 3.
Yeah, I'd buy all of those. I don't know. All right. Giggy says, what's better than the squeeze and click of the LR shoulder buttons of the GameCube controller? The answer is nothing. Absolutely nothing is better than that. God, it's just the best. What is the first thing you think of when you think of that? Because I think of a Rogue Leader, like pushing it in to like make the S coils unlock.
Right. Yes.
When you're in the X-wing.
Yes, that's good. I don't know if I have like one thing I think of. Maybe I think of Sunshine and like you can hold it halfway down and run and hold it all the way down to stop or whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then like you click it in, it's like that spurt of
right. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. Makes me spurt.
God damn it.
I had to. I'm sorry. I really should not have. But it was there, and I went for it. Charles asks, how do you think Nintendo would fare in an alternate reality where they decided to compete with the PlayStation 5 and Xbox for this generation, while having NVIDIA DLSS architecture proved to be an advantage? They also gained a lot of third-party support the Switch. Would third-party plus first-party plus NVIDIA prove to be the winning combo, or would Nintendo GameCube it and fail in some way?
It's a tough one because I don't know if the premise here makes a lot of sense, because if they tried to compete with PlayStation 5 and Xbox, does that mean like be like just a home console that is very powerful?
I think we have to assume it wouldn't be a Switch anymore, right?
Oh yeah, that's what I'm assuming too. And then, but if that's the case, NVIDIA hardware would be very expensive. I don't know if they would if it would measure up. And yeah, DLSS would be cool if they did use NVIDIA. But at that point, like there wouldn't be a lot of point for third parties to come in there, because the reason third parties are succeeding on Switch is because it's a handheld. So it would be like a GameCube. I think it would be like the GameCube.
I think history has proven that there isn't room for 3 very similar consoles like that.
Right.
And that's why the GameCube did suffer. And it's why Sega was eventually thrown out of the proceedings. At a certain point, like it's one thing when there's 2 of them, like a PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. If there's going to be a third one, it has to be different.
Right.
That's why the Wii worked, and that's why the Switch is working now. Giggy says, I'm clearing space to learn how to solder so I can replace old save batteries on some of my game carts. Are there any old game cart saves you have or had that would sting a bit if you lost it because the battery died? I think mine would be Super Mario RPG save, where I found just about everything in the game. If I'm being honest, I would easily restart that one from the beginning. First off, that's really cool that you're learning to do
Yeah.
that. It's going to be like it is like this weird thing to think about. Like, yeah, all these like batteries are going to die relatively soon. These cartridges are not going to be forever. Excuse me, Jeff. Is there anything like that where you would like a specific cartridge where you would freak out if the save was lost?
No, I don't have a lot of my cartridges anymore, but I guess there's Link's Awakening. Link's Awakening. I have that somewhere, and but the thing is, with a lot of these, I think I dumped most of them. I dumped most of my saves because honestly, getting some of these weird little hardware things, these little handhelds, or even like a Retron. I think some of maybe not a Retron, but definitely the analog things. You could just put cartridges in there, and they have ways to dump your saves and put them on a computer and save them forever, and put them in the cloud. And that way, if you ever need to inject them into a cartridge, I think that's an option. But so I would recommend trying to do that, Giggy, before you start soldering anything. But yeah.
Yeah, like I don't think I have anything specifically. For one thing, back then I didn't like 100% many games or anything. I think the first time I really did that was memorable in some way was for Kingdom Hearts 2, because that was like the only way you could get the secret ending.
Right.
And back then YouTube wasn't that much of a thing. Like there was some like crappy upload of it somewhere, but I wanted to actually see it on my TV. So yeah, not really. Also, like if I replay any of those old games anymore, it's because I want to play them again. So I would just want to start them over anyways. But I think it's neat to learn how to solder and do that.
I ended the poll, so we could check in on that real quick. Have you ever installed Dr. Mario World for mobile? 84% said no, and 15% said yes, and the poll had 91 votes. So
yeah, not a great side for that game.
Yep.
Well, I guess you're not invited to the funeral. We got one more here in the Discord from RecRap13. With the advent of games like Nickelodeon, All-Star Brawl, and Hot Wheels Unleashed looking fairly good, do you think licensed games will reach a peak like they did in the early 2000s? I think for a while there, licensed games had completely retreated to mobile, like 1%. And I think we're starting to see that reverse a little bit. I don't know if we're going to get to like that golden age. And to be clear, the golden age had a ton of bad licensed games, but there were so many of them that it was almost kind of fun to find the hidden gems and whatnot. And when like one of them was actually good, like the Hulk game or something like that, we all sort of rallied around it and we had fun with that. So that's what kind of made the same thing with like all those Star Wars games back then, right?
Yes.
Like I see some people say like, why do you guys call it the golden age? A lot of those games were bad. It was like, yeah, but it was like fun that there were so many of them in a way. And it's like, which ones are good? And we would debate these things, and they were all kind of fun to at least try. So I don't think it's going to be quite that interesting again. Maybe if Nickelodeon All Stars is a big hit, that'll help. What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, I think you're generally right. Where I would love to see. Like, I mean, my thing is when I think about Star Wars right now, I do wish they would be more like that time, and I wish they would be more like what Warhammer is right now. Just let a bunch of different developers try this stuff, and make it more like where we just got a bunch of weird, sometimes bad games. Because you're right. Like even if it's a franchise you like, at least trying them, you might find something to enjoy. The music's usually pretty good, stuff like that. Just kind of being in the world could be fun, even if the game itself doesn't come together. And I think that could still work. It just, they're thinking about opportunity costs. They're trying to take big swings, trying to get the big hits, and I don't know if that's ever going to change back to what it used to be. It's probably not. It's going to look different, I think. And if, for kids coming up right now, they're just going to keep playing the mobile games of their favorite franchises, and they'll be happy with that. So I think we might just be aging out of this stuff.
Maybe. All right, Jeff, do we have some super chat questions?
Yeah, we do. So let's start here with Vitter FC, who came in with the Activision topic. Said, while Bobby Kotick is there's no reason to expect real change. Even the founder of Uber got pushed out because of poor corporate culture. And I think that is... I think that's right. I mean, that's right now. The response from Activision Blizzard, it all reads to me as positioning to make sure that the people at the very top don't lose their jobs.
Yes, I mean, how is that Fran, that Bush era
Fran Townsend,
torture apologist, right? Like how is she like she has to go, right? And I wonder if they're going to ask about her specifically during this call today. But like if she isn't like removed, that's pretty distressing.
Yeah, I mean, she went on to post like a thing on Twitter where she's like, "Hey, the problem with whistleblowing," and it was some story.
Yeah, she
about
retweeted some story from, was it The Atlantic, where it's like, the issue with whistleblowing. Like, that's a weird thing for you to retweet.
Yeah,
executive at like a company going through like this, this lawsuit by the state right now.
Yep. Let's see. So, J Stud McLovin says a GameCube game. Oh, you know what? Should I save this one?
Is it about a favorite GameCube game?
Yes, it is. Yeah,
then we should say that one. Okay. But thank you.
I'll get back to you, J Stud, in a second. Let's see. Okay, from Jedi Moss 4. The Pokemon Company hasn't said much about the Diamond Pearl remake. Thank you.
DP threw you off there.
Yeah, threw me off a little bit.
Brain.
Yeah, hey, listen. And Arceus in a while, other than giving dates. When can we expect them to give an update for those games? I mean, I want to say like later in the fall, but Arceus is January, right? They're probably gonna do another Pokemon Direct or something like that.
We're probably gonna get another Pokemon Direct soon, because we don't know very much about Arceus, and there has to be a stronger sales push coming up for the Diamond Pearl.
Is Arceus gonna get delayed?
Maybe. Why? I mean, why the hell not? Right?
Right. Why the hell not? Yeah. That's how I feel.
I would delay it, and I don't even know what's going on with it. I would just say, delay that. I'm sure it could use more work. So I don't know. It might, but even still, there's got to be something more to show about that. We still don't really know what that game is, other than that it's Pokemon trying to ape some Breath of the Wild style.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and we'll see about that stuff soon. This one's from Benny Blizzard. Heading from Columbus, Ohio to Colorado tomorrow. What's the best retro video game store in Colorado? First of all,
that's weird.
That's exactly what I did. I mean, now I don't know. Are you just visiting? Because I moved from Columbus, Ohio to Colorado. Got bad news for you. They closed down all the retro game stores pretty much. If you find one when you come out here, let me know. I had one that was like, I don't know, it was like Video Game Exchange or something like that. Not exactly.
Yeah, the Exchange is still in Ohio. It's like a chain.
Yeah,
I don't know how big of a chain it is.
Yeah, I don't know if that was the exact name. But there was a few of those around here for the first few years that I lived out here, and now I think they're all gone. At least there's nothing close to me anyhow. And I'm in the suburbs south of Denver, and so I'm like, oh, I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of stuff because there's like a lot of people here, and no, everyone just got out of that business around here. It's been a real disappointment. So it also, but you know what? It also helped me like accept that there's other ways to get this stuff, and I'm just gonna embrace that and not worry too much about trying to collect physical games. So it was part of that process of me letting those things go.
Yeah.
But hey, you ever want to know anything else about Denver? Ask me.
You don't know nothing. You stay home all day.
Still could ask me though. I want to be included.
Nah. All right. We are going to take a very short break, and we're going to come back to talk about our favorite GameCube games. We will be right back. And if you're watching live and wondering why we're taking a break, it's because I have to go pee.
All right, I'm gonna see if I get a flute or something here. All right, hey everybody. I should add some more names to that thing right now. Actually, if you want a last minute entry into the giveaway, I think that's still fair. If you want to go give us a rating on whatever, or give us a thumbs up now on YouTube just to help us people find the show, that helps. Thank you, Deep Thinker. We'll get to your thing tomorrow. Oh, okay, yeah. Wow, man, everyone's moving here. We'll talk about that here on the show in a second. How does Mike do this? I could just put on my Arby's hat and just look like a goof. Would that be good?
Suffer!
I don't like that he's listening to us while he goes pee. That's the problem.
He's coming out right now.
Oh, come on. All right, and then see, I look pretty handsome. It does not work with the headphones on. Yeah, I need a gimmick for solo. Yes, I need to come up with something. I can juggle a little bit. Let me see if I have any balls. Not like that.
My lack of offspring allows me to develop skills and hobbies. All right.
These are like Lego pieces. They're pretty light, so it's not going to work very well. Yep.
What the hell are you doing?
Doesn't work very well.
Better than I could do. Better than I could do.
I got one right
Fair
here
enough.
for you.
Well, guys, I'm sorry I had to leave you like that. You did not hear me peeing.
Thank God you're back.
They didn't hear. Did they hear? Could they hear the stream?
I couldn't. I don't think I could. But
I think
also took
Pablo's
my headphones
messing
off for a
with me.
second.
But that's it. If you listened, you had to take your earphones off or whatever. That's an invasion of privacy. Shame on you.
All right. Wow.
All right, let's get back to this.
What a show. What a show. All right.
Stream.
What a stream.
All right. Okay. And we are back. Jeff, what is your favorite GameCube game?
I'm glad I get to go first, so you couldn't steal it. Metroid Prime. Metroid Prime is one of my favorite games of all time. It is a brilliant adaptation of the Metroidvania genre into 3D. It borrowed some stuff from Zelda, like the Z targeting, and it's just fantastic. I really love it.
Yeah, that's kind of in my. It's not my top pick, but it's in my sort of top three, my sort of holy trinity, which I'll get to in a moment here. I was replaying it again very recently. Even things that I thought would bother me now, like the tank controls, are still completely fine. Just such a cool, like people say, it's atmospheric, but like it's very good at like giving you a sense of atmosphere. But the atmosphere itself is also really cool. It's really great. This sort of like alien planet. And it's weird because it has like the expected biomes, like the ice one, the jungle one, the sandy one, but they still all feel really distinct and like interesting compared to other versions of those.
Yes.
Man, yeah, just really cool architecture. The model, the Samus model, that's the best character model of that generation. Samus looks so good in that game.
I agree.
I still don't really understand how they accomplished that.
Yeah, I mean, it helps that she's like, you know, these angles and this like robot looking thing, but yeah, she like looks better than like a similar.
She looks
sort
better
of,
than Master Chief.
Looks better than Master Chief at that time. Absolutely, it's timeless, that game, and it's not just timeless in terms of gameplay; it's timeless in terms of visuals. It really still holds up, and you know, that's the second generation of 3D consoles, and to think that it held up that well after all this time is super impressive. A lot of stuff does hold up from the GameCube, but not a lot of stuff that holds up that like is going for that like sci-fi quasi-realistic look. And when you go for that, that stuff fell apart over time. Not Metroid Prime, just incredible art.
Right, like GameCube's held up really. I mean, GameCube, the Wind Waker's held up really well.
Yes.
Because it's very stylistic, and like so that has obviously, you know, just kind of persisted through the years here. My top pick is actually Super Smash Brothers Melee.
Oh, right, of course.
I played a ton of that game with my friends. We even went to a couple of like tournaments and stuff. We had so much fun. Still probably my favorite fighting game of all time. It almost seemed to stumble into it by accident. Like it didn't mean to be so competitive, but just some of the changes they made from the base game, making things feel a little heavier, a little more technical, just adding just a few more mechanics to kind of add that depth. There's also like the Smash Bros. 64 was kind of like goofy, like the intros, like, oh, look, they're dolls and they're coming to life. Like Melee took itself like this is epic and this is very serious. Like just that opening cinematic still gives me chills. Right, like this orchestrated music and these incredible montages and CG of like Kirby flying through, and then there's Star Fox. There's that Yoshi like stampede. It's Mario and Link facing off in this Coliseum at the end. They're like Mario, Yoshi and Peach are facing off against like that giant Bowser. It's intimidating. Right. Yeah, Melee was that hit me hard. I absolutely fell in love with that. Brawl's opening is better. Nick Turbo. That is the worst opinion you've ever had, and you don't think Mega Man is good. So, wow, Nick. I mean, wow. Yeah. No, Brawl's opening is not better than Melee's. Absolutely not. Melee's opening is incredible. The challenges were fun. The adventure mode was fun. I played Sheik in that, and she just had this, like, her forward, like, attack in the air was this, like, swatting move. I just swatted people off those stages. Man, did it feel good. The remixes of all those songs. One of the first like orchestral video game soundtrack things I had was there was a Smash Brothers concert they did in Japan, and my brother actually bought me like the issue of Fumitsu that came with it. So I had that CD with all the orchestrated versions of Fountain of Dreams, and had the Fire Emblem song and Zelda and Pokemon, and gosh, I played that album so much too. Yeah, just absolutely loved Melee.
Yeah,
I also loved so bad, actually.
I also loved Melee. It was that was my that was my Smash Brothers time. I thought I was good because I played against my friends, and then I would go play against another group of friends, and I got my butt kicked actually. So I was bad at it. I made Luigi, so I had no idea.
Of course
like,
you did.
Yeah, I'm like I had no idea like who were good characters or anything like that. That was the problem. My friends were like bad at video games, so it was like I could never get much better and stuff. So
Wow, way to throw your friends under the bus. Are any of them here?
They're garbage. They know it. Yeah. But yeah, Melee was great. Metroid Prime was great. Do we have? You know what? Actually, should I start with this answer from our super chat, and then we'll get into some from the Discord? So from J Stud McLovin, going with a game that I never actually played. He says the GameCube game I loved but nobody mentions was Chibi Robo. I've never played it.
Chibi Robo does get some love now.
Yes.
I never played it either, but it's a pretty well-liked 3D platformer. They made that 2D one not too long ago that people didn't seem to like nearly as much. Like, there are more of these games, somewhat surprisingly. But yeah, people really liked that Chibi Robo, and it's definitely on my to-do list. I need to get to that at some point or another, huh?
Yeah.
But all right, you want to hear from some of our Discord friends what their favorite GameCube game is?
Yeah, let's get into it.
And if you want to share yours still, you can always send in the super chat, and we will bring it up here. We had another super chat question. We'll get to at the end of this too.
And we'll get to those after everything. Everybody, no problem.
Nick Turbo says Mario Superstar Baseball, probably the best baseball game ever made. I keep asking Nintendo for a new one, but those cowards won't return my calls. You know what's weird, Jeff? I love Mario, Nintendo. I love baseball. Never played this one. I don't know.
Huh.
I don't know. I didn't play much of Sluggers either. I just remember I played a demo of it once. And I thought it was great how like Donkey Kong did not use a bat. He just held his arm out like this. And that's how he hit the ball. I was like, well, that's great. So yeah, I don't know why I didn't play this. Seems like something I think at this time I didn't really like baseball very much. I think I got into baseball more around 2008. Yeah, really. So I think I missed the boat.
Played it a little bit, but I think I always enjoyed Strikers more. So I played Mario Strikers a lot more than that.
Anderson64 says, best GameCube game for me was Freedom Fighters. Incredible story and fun gameplay. The Governor's Island level is still insanely memorable to me. Not a first-party game, but one of my favorites. Man, this is another one I have not played. I actually looked at a little video of it because I wasn't even super familiar with it. This kind of third-person shooter thing. Are you familiar with Freedom Fighters?
Is Freedom Fighters the IO interactive game? Freedom...
Well, there was a game with a similar name that was like an RPG with superheroes, and I thought maybe that was this at first. I can't remember.
No, this is IO Interactive. I played this a little bit, but I should give it another chance now that I'm such an IO Interactive stan. So I'll go back. I know that they included Freedom Fighters as like a reference in one of their Hitman expansions or whatever. So I'll have to go back and try it out. Good answer.
Aaron Tonsa says, best GameCube game is a three-way tie between Thousand Year Door, Wind Waker, and Super Mario Sunshine. Come at me, Sunshine haters. So you know what's interesting here is I was a big Sunshine defender for a very long time, and then when the Super Mario 3D All-Stars came out, and I played like all three of those games back to back. I'm not saying I don't like Sunshine anymore, but for the first time I was like, yeah, I can kind of see why some people don't think this is as good. I still like Sunshine, but I was sort of like not turned off it, but my eyes were opened a little bit to its faults when I play it in between Mario 64 and Mario Galaxy. Yeah, I really like the parts where you lose the jetpack and it's really hard challenging, or it's really hard to like challenging platforming stages. I liked most of the stages. I thought they were interesting. It just has some issues that the other Mario games don't have. I think it's the problem. I like the jetpack a lot. I love the atmosphere. I love the theming, the structure where it's not just like, oh, collect so many stars and then you can move on, which is how it should work. It's like you have to get the 7th star or whatever it was in each world, which was kind of annoying. And there are some other things, like some poorly designed levels and sections, like the thing where you're on the boat and you have to steer the boat with your jetpack. It just doesn't work very well. Yes. So weird random things like that. But yeah, but because like you have to get the 7th shine in each world, it's 64 if you didn't like a shine or a star, well, just don't do that one. Do something else. Right, exactly. And you can't really do that here. So it's a bit of a bummer. Yep. Mm-hmm. Man, Thousand Year Door, absolutely one of my favorites. I mentioned my holy trinity. My trinity is Melee, Metroid Prime, and Wind Waker. Yes. So yeah, Wind Waker is fantastic. Thousand Year Door is in that very next tier, though. That's good stuff. Giggy says, Eternal Darkness remains one of the unique gems of the GameCube. While the core gameplay feels very archaic, the sanity system is a ton of fun to play and mess around with. It's surprising that so few games today use that system, as it works so well within the Eldritch horror-inspired setting. If you can hunt down a copy and didn't mind tank-like controls, pick it up. This is a game. Yeah, I never liked horror games very much, but even back then, I played a fair amount of Eternal Darkness just because I thought it was so cool. That insanity system really wasn't there. I remember the first time it was like lowering the volume that like really messed with me. Or it was like, oh, we're deleting your save. Like that was really creative. That was really cool.
Yeah, at a certain point, like you figure out, like, oh, it's gonna do a trick or whatever, but it's still fun to see what it's going to be, what they come up with, putting a fly on the screen or something like that. It's something that going back to it now, it's hard because it's like you could see like the conflicts, because like playing the game, you don't want to lose your sanity, but if you don't lose your sanity, you don't see a lot of those things. So I wonder if there was like a better way of doing that stuff, and a better way of doing that now if someone were to follow up on these ideas. But I love that game when I played it on GameCube. I played so much of it. I didn't do like all 3 paths, but I got close to doing all 3 paths. I at least did like 1.5. So yeah, it was a game I liked a lot.
I remember early in the game, you can like inspect an empty tub, and then when you do it, like suddenly zooms in on it. It's like a corpse, and like the tub's filled with blood.
Right.
And like I played it in a store, and that jump scare still got me, like in the middle of like software, etc., wherever it was.
Yep.
Oh, jeez. Mogo says my favorite GameCube game would still have to be Zoids Battle Legends. Such a fantastic game with very deep customization options. Still the best Zoids game to date. Jeff, have you played Zoids Battle Legends or any of the Zoids games?
I watched Zoids for quite some time. I guess quite some time. When you're young, things could feel like they're years. I probably watched it for a few weeks, but it felt like for some time. I never played a Zoids game ever.
Okay, so Zoids is a show, is what you're telling me.
Yeah. It's like, it was totally like on a after school afternoon cartoon sort of.
I wasn't familiar with this franchise at all.
I think it was like kind of like 3D. It was like early CGI or whatever, but it was pretty from what I remember. I have like vague memories of this thing now, but I'm gonna try this game. I'm gonna try Zoids Battle Legends and see what all this deep customization is about.
Yeah, I didn't know much about, but it's giant robots fighting each other from what I saw in a video. I'm like, yeah, that looks fun. He also said honorable mentions that I'm obligated to say: Skies of Arcadia, Legends. I want to play Skies of Arcadia pretty badly. I'm just not sure if I want to play the original Dreamcast version or the GameCube version. Apparently, there are pros and cons to each.
Okay.
Disney's Extreme Skate Adventure. Jeff, I told you about this before, but they just took like the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 or 4 engine and just put Disney characters inside of it. So I absolutely need to play this game very badly.
Does he skate goofy-footed?
No. Well, it depends on your level. I think I think there's like a liking level in your Timon and Pumbaa skating and stuff like that. I think it's Tarzan, Timon and Pumbaa, and like is it Buzz Lightyear's one of those? I forget. But man,
all right, I'm gonna try. I think I've seen images of Buzz Lightyear skateboarding, so I'll check it out. My kids love Buzz Lightyear.
Mm-hmm. And Nintendo Puzzle Collection. What was the Nintendo Puzzle Collection?
No idea.
I don't even remember that. It must have been like Dr. Mario before he died.
Right, of course. Rip.
Yoshi's Cookie. I don't know. Man, what is that? I don't remember that.
Yeah, there's Dr. Mario. It looks like Yoshi's Cookie and
Wario Woods.
Panel Dupon. I forget what Panel Dupon is. I bet that's like Tetris Attack or something.
I really don't associate puzzle games with the GameCube. I do with the NES.
Yeah, that's
the SNES and even the 64 because of Pokemon Puzzle League, but not really with GameCube.
All right, I'm gonna put that in my memory. Panel Dupon is what the Japanese name for Tetris Attack. Now I know.
Oh, I'm learning about so many games here. I'm impressed with the deep cuts here.
Same.
Knoble actually just says the best GameCube game and best Zelda is Wind Waker, and I definitely agree with best Zelda. That's my favorite Zelda.
I'm glad we didn't have to wait until like the very end to get a Zelda this time, because Wind Waker is fantastic. It's better. I think it's better to play that game today than it ever, like even then. Like, and then it was like, this is amazing, but kind of like playing it today, see how well it holds up, and having a bunch of other Zeldas since then, it's like nice to go back to this specific Zelda and experience it.
And the only thing I wish I would add to it now is an orchestrated soundtrack. I think that the kind of MIDI quality music, like the compositions are good, but the MIDI quality of the music there kind of lets the music down quite a bit in that one. Charles says, hey, Nintendogs, my favorite GameCube game from when I was younger and didn't really pick my own games was Sonic Heroes. Played through it many times.
Sorry to hear that, Charles.
This is it. Well, I get it. But like this was when I was kind of getting older, and Sonic Heroes was the first Sonic game where I'm like, I don't like this anymore. This one, that was the one that turned me off the front. Like I didn't buy Shadow the Hedgehog because I didn't like Sonic Heroes, and then I saw Shadow the Hedgehog, and I was like, what the fuck? So I'll tell you what, the Sonic Heroes song though, Sonic Heroes, that's fantastic stuff.
I've heard, yeah, the better the music, the worse the game. So yeah.
No. Wildfire Alex says favorite GameCube game is easily the most obvious one, Super Smash Bros. Melee. Hey, he agrees with me. We've already gone on and on about why we all love it, so I'll just keep it short and simple. It's my favorite because it's the game I played the most with my friends in high school. Also very similar to me. And we poured countless hours into it. It holds a lot of fond memories for me, and I will always cherish it, y'all. One thing I didn't bring up before, the trophies were so good in that game. You could unlock them, and they had all that great information about those characters and just spinning it around. Oh,
yeah, the problem with Melee for me, I think, might have been that I was just a tad too old. Like, it came out right as I was graduating, I think. So,
okay, yeah.
I remember thinking, like, in high school, man, when the next Nintendo system comes out, I'm not going to be in school anymore. I'm getting so old. And that, yeah, the GameCube came out as I was graduating. So, like, I was, like, working jobs and still, like, living at home. And so having, like, friends over to play games was a little bit more sad than it was before. We still did it, but it was just, it was tainted a little bit. It wasn't like in high school. So it did not hook me in the same way it did other people, even though I did really love it still.
Napper says favorite GameCube game has to be Resident Evil 4. The clear counter beside the same file started a competition between me and two friends. I ended up clearing the game over 60 times, while my one friend was able to hit 80 and the other hit 104, destroying us both. Wow. I can't imagine playing through a game that many times now, but hey, we were 12 years old. Yeah, that's pretty incredible. But yeah, man. That's another one that's pretty iconic, and it's there's a game that's out on a million things now, which is nice, and which is how these things should be. But yeah, like when that hit, man, that was a big surprise. And I didn't even like Resident Evil back then, but I played Resident Evil 4 and loved it. It was fantastic.
It was. I think that's probably my top three. It would probably be Metroid Prime, Wind Waker, and Resident Evil 4.
I would probably put Resident Evil 4 in like that tier after my top three, right, like along with like Thousand Year Door and so on. But yeah, very, very good. Benji Bob says honorable mentions Donkey Kong Jungle Beat.
Yes.
So what I've been digging around, I found Jungle Beat and I found 2 bongos. So I'm ready to go.
Man. We should stream that. That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
I love those games a lot. So good answer.
Those people went on to do the Galaxy games.
Yes.
I think basically because Jungle Beat was so good. So, Mario Strikers is another honorable mention for him, and Double Dash. And then he said, yes, I said it. I like to Double Dash, which actually like made me reply, is liking Double Dash controversial? I
think it's a little bit controversial, but not like some other things. There's a lot of people who love Double Dash. I'm definitely one who's like, ooh, Double Dash. I don't want to play that anymore. But
really?
Yes,
I love Double Dash.
Yes, I think the problem is that it had really bad snaking, I think, and so I think like to like actually like beat your friends, if anyone started sneaking, everyone had to snake, and then you started to lose some of the finesse that I
guess I never got into like this high tier stress. I was just racing around like a jackass and laughing because like I had Waluigi and Baby Mario on the same cart. I don't, man. Double Dash, I think, holds up better than maybe some of the other ones because it is so different, though. At least, so
yeah, I probably could give it another chance, but yeah, right now I'm like,
I mean, I should give it another chance too. I don't know. I haven't played it forever, so maybe
Mario Kart 8 is like such the ideal Mario Kart game.
That is the thing. I bet if I do play it now, I'm like, why am I not just playing Mario Kart 8? Because it is so good. But his actual answer, he says, but the GameCube was at the height of my Pokemon fandom, and for me, Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness was so far off the normal formula, I could feel that formulaic burnout even as a kid by Gen 3, that I couldn't help but love it. I get it. There's some weird stuff going on in that game. Shadow Pokemon, permanent double battles, severe lack of wild Pokemon, but XD was a meaningful sequel to Colosseum and a surprisingly good story, legitimately tough trainer battles, and the best Pokemon battle music ever made. It's interesting because Gale of Darkness was pretty, because we had Pokemon Stadium, Pokemon Coliseum, and this one just added a campaign to it.
Oh, okay.
And it was like, yeah, it's like a good campaign, and they got less ambitious after that. Like that, even then it seemed like, oh wow, they're experimenting with doing a console Pokemon RPG, and that was basically it. That was the experiment, and it didn't go beyond that. But a lot of people still think back fondly on that one because of it.
Yeah, people always seem to talk about it highly. I did not realize it had a campaign, so that's why. Huh, okay.
Yeah, that's a full-on campaign. Eat the Hype says, you already know my favorite GameCube game was Wind Waker, my favorite Zelda of all time. I was always put off by the hate the game received for years and very much enjoyed it getting new life with the HT re-release on Wii U. Wind Waker's style, when controversial for the age of 90s, kids wanting to push the limits of extreme, it's timeless and creates such a beautiful world. Wind Waker also sports the best combat in the series, and in my opinion, it isn't really close. The ability to parry and counterattacks made Link's sword feel fluid and responsive, unlike the directional arm flailing that was to come with Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword later on. Also, being able to use the hook shot to steal items while in combat was an awesome feat that should definitely be in every game since. Lastly, I love the world and setting that Wind Waker builds. Link has a family, his island he's grown up with, and his journey has weight because of it. All of that is true. I definitely. It's interesting that reaction when it was announced. I know I was definitely, and I almost feel like pretentious for saying this, but I was immediately into it. As soon as they showed the first thing, I was like, oh, this looks fantastic. And I was one of the people who was like mad that people were upset about it. But, then again, like I, was a guy who still liked Disney cartoons when I was 13. So I didn't have much of an edgy streak in me, even when that was a normal thing for like a young teenager or so on.
Yeah, I felt like I could have gone like either way, but I definitely trended towards being like pretty happy with it when I first saw it, and then kind of like obsessing over the tech of like Link's eyes moving and having it look like a cartoon, and the animation of the bad guys, the moblins or whatever. So yeah, I was pretty into it right away, and then playing it, it was like, okay, no, instantly this is a great game. I can't get over the way it looks. So yeah.
Yeah. Jake Bogdanoff says Resident Evil 4 is my favorite game of all time, so that one. Still think the Wii version is the best that currently exists. So I do like the Wii version. That actually was a game where the Wii aiming was very good. Mm-hmm. So that's it for the answers that we got from the Discord here. Although RecRap 13 actually just added that Spider-Man Ultimate always felt at home on the GameCube. I didn't play Ultimate. I played Spider-Man 2 a lot.
Yes.
My brother played Ultimate, but I didn't play that much of Ultimate.
Spider-Man 2, another great GameCube game, even though not a lot of third-party like games that you need to bring up because they were on everything. But yeah, okay. So I got a couple.
I know a lot of people associate Prince of Persia even with GameCube, and it was great.
Sands of Time is definitely probably in my top 15, I think.
Soul Calibur 2 is actually like that would be pretty high up there for me, and that's one where the GameCube version was obviously the best because it had Link. So yeah, I love Soul Calibur 2, and that's a big GameCube game for me.
All right. We got from Brett Templin here, and he sent in a super chat with his response. Mario Kart Double Dash, Chef's Kiss, my favorite Mario Kart. I beat 50 people in a GameStop tournament. Whoa.
Nice.
Yes, well done, Brett. It was fun at the time. It was a time where I'm like, oh, this is like the most competitive one, where it's like a lot of fun to like play against friends, even more so than the
Baby Park, the most competitive Mario Kart stage of all time.
Exactly. And then Green Thumb says, my favorite GameCube games: Ocarina of Time Master Quest, Metroid Prime, Wind Waker, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Smash Bros. Melee. Thanks for the podcast. You're welcome, Green Thumbs.
Thank you for listening.
That's an interesting one, have the Master Quest in there. But yeah, that's like the first time I think we could play that here, because that came out, that was a 64 DD game, right? And then we got it, I think, is how it went.
Yeah, or supposed to be, something like that. There was the thing that just had Ocarina of Time and Master Quest, and then there was like that collection that came out.
Yes.
And one of them was a pre-order bonus for Wind Waker. It was all very interesting.
Yeah, I had that game for a while, and then I sold it for a lot of money because apparently it was
very nice,
worth a lot. Yeah. All right, and then let's see. I think we got another one from J Stud McLovin. Wind Waker's Hyrule black and white scene is so memorable.
Yes, there's so many good scenes. That's one of my favorite final boss fights ever. Is the fight with Ganondorf at the end of that game. Like I had chills forever after beating that game. It was so amazing. Oof. The stab in the head, come on, that was fantastic. And plus, it was a game for me because like you push that counter button that you've been learning the whole time, and it's just like the best counter ever. Like you dodge, roll behind him, then you jump over him and stab him in the head, and that's it. Like, oh, you beat the game.
Yes.
Like in that moment,
it's seared into my head. Like that scene. Absolutely, I think about it a lot whenever we talk about Wind Waker. That sword sticking out of his head is just right there.
It's just like such perfect. Like you're in like the old Hyrule, and it's flooding again. You're surrounded by this waterfall. Like man, like that they achieved something with that much kind of epicness on the GameCube was crazy. It was so cool.
So we still have 2 other super chat questions, but I'll get to those if we're done with this topic. Are we ready to move on?
I'm trying to think. Is there anything that like just wasn't brought up that you feel like we'd be remiss not talking? I feel like we got through everything. Really, no one brought up F-Zero GX, which is fantastic. It's the last F-Zero we got. Really, I think there was one Game Boy Advance one that came out in Japan or maybe here too, but GX was awesome stuff.
Yeah, I liked Ultimate Muscle, Legends versus New Generations. Like, there's some good wrestling games on the GameCube. That was a really good one. Yeah, but I think we Beautiful Joe and Pikmin 2 specifically. Beautiful Joe was really great. Pikmin was really great.
Do you like Pikmin or Pikmin 2? Because those were
I like Pikmin. I like Pikmin 2 the best, I think, out of those. But Pikmin was still also really well. Any love for Luigi's Mansion?
I think as a launch game, it was really neat. For the launch games, I probably would take Rogue Leader, which was fantastic, and that held up throughout the entire life. Even when we got the sequel to it, I still liked Rogue Leader more. Even though the sequel, I think, just had all the Rogue Leader levels in it, I still just liked playing the other one more. Even Monkey Ball 2 deserves some mention because its minigame collections were amazing. That was really good stuff. This was the first time we got Animal Crossing, and it was really cool. Although, I'd rather play the newer Animal Crossing. Seeing some people bring up Twin Snakes, I like Twin Snakes. I'd rather play the original now.
Same here.
Twin Snakes went a little too hard in the Matrix-y direction. It also redid certain things that didn't need to be because they added in the first-person shooting. It trivialized a lot of encounters and fights that weren't designed around that. Like fighting Revolver Ocelot was so easy. You just stood still now when the first person mode and shot him. You didn't have to work around the corners or anything like that. So,
and then Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 and Fire Emblem Path of Radiance.
I did not play Path of Radiance or its Wii sequel, and someday I'm going to have to. And the Tony Hawk games I do associate more with PlayStation 2. I'll be honest.
Fair enough. Yeah. Path of Radiance is one that I've started a couple times recently, and I really enjoy it. And I'm gonna play through it for real. But every time I do it, I'm like, I should stream this because I think there's an audience who would like to watch that. So
I think at the time I was really actually turned off by that game's 3D models because in the Game Boy Advance games, the sprites were so amazing and those animations were so great. And it just didn't look as good on the game. It's one of those rare instances where I wish this GameCube version looked as good as the Game Boy Advance version. Someone brought up Tales of Symphonia, and I do have to give a shout out to that. That was one of the. I didn't play a lot of JRPGs after my kind of SNES days, but Tales of Symphonia was one I actually beat, which was rare back then. And now I'm something of a JRPG fiend. Yeah, Tales of Symphonia was super fun. That was great stuff.
All right, then I'm gonna get to some of these other questions we got from the super chats. Let's see. This one I think is okay. Deep Thinker. I am moving to Denver tomorrow. Any advice? Not from Ohio. Lol. I mean, there's a ton to do here. Bring some shorts in the summer. It's really hot in the summer. And then there's not much to worry about because Denver's a pretty easy city. Even when it snows, it melts the next day because the sun comes back out. There's 300 days of sunshine. I don't know, if you go to Pikes Peak, try to not go in the afternoon because you'll get electrocuted almost for sure. The people get electrocuted there from thunderstorms all the time.
That's dangerous.
Yeah, it is. But it's you want to go to the tops of the mountains and stuff. It's cool. You want to do it. Just go in the morning it would be my suggestion there. And then I think definitely go out to Estes Park. Go if you want to go to the zoo. Don't go to the Denver Zoo. Denver Zoo's fine. It's good. But Cheyenne Mountain Zoo down in Colorado Springs is fantastic. It's up in the mountains. It's really cool. And you can feed the giraffes and stuff. Do that. But yeah, I know most of the stuff I know is stuff where I'm taking my kids places because I'm an old man now. So that's it. One more. Yeah, let's see. From J Stud McLovin. Think the Olympics/outbreaks will cause game delays. Probably. Yeah, probably.
Probably like Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Yeah.
I don't know about the Olympics necessarily, but
yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see if the Olympics led to some outbreaks, which I guess it's leading to some.
Oh, right, yeah.
But
that context, yeah.
Right, but we'll see. I think there's a chance that games will continue to just feel out delays throughout the next several months. So, yes, more than likely. I think we are all caught up on super chats. Michael McNaughty.
Awesome stuff there. If you guys have anything more you want to say, super chat, we will get to it before the show ends. But let's talk a little bit about some of the Nintendo games we were playing, and then we'll get out of here. But Jeff, what have you been playing this week?
Yeah, real quick, got another one from Jedi Mouse 4. I remember the GameCube at the time had the stigma as a kiddie console, and a lot of gamers who became teenagers didn't want to be associated with it.
I remember that was a thing. Yeah,
I remember this well because I was always mad at everybody for saying that. I'm like, no, there's so many good games. What's wrong with you? Why are you so insecure? And it was something that definitely passed. But that was like when the most gamers were going through that phase, and so there was a lot of like, oh, that's kiddie and cartoony, and you had to hear that all the time.
There was like a general age of gamers that did like start with, oh, most of them are kids in the NES era. And again, like obviously not everyone. If you were an adult when the NES came out, yeah, it's fine. But
like the first generation of kids that grew up like the NES were like hitting that at that point, and so
right. Yeah. And then, there's always more like people coming up, but yeah. So by the GameCube time, a lot of those NES kids were teenagers, and they were actually like, oh, this thing looks like a toy, and I'm too cool for that. And like it actually was a thing, and you heard it all the time. Nintendo is too kiddie, and they actively tried to combat that with stuff like Resident Evil and Eternal Darkness, and it wasn't ever quite enough, and it was a shame. And I think more than anything, that is why it more than anything, PlayStation 2 was just such a big deal. But after that is why it didn't sell as well as it needed to.
Yeah, PlayStation 2 was like the thing you would see on MTV Cribs, like when you were in a rapper's house. And they'd be like, here's my PlayStation 2. And it's like, oh, this is the cool thing. This is the thing that like people who are like professionally cool, they have a PlayStation 2.
The PlayStation 2 was branded incredibly well, and it was actually a fantastic system. So
yes, it all came together for them. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, so it had a lot of things going for it. And it was also like the best DVD player you could get, right?
Yep. Yes. Yes. Huge difference. Yes, absolutely.
Do you like the mini discs? I mean, they probably held the system back, but I love seeing those mini discs.
Yeah, of course, I love them, and I also love the Wii U's like really soft edges disc. So all of Nintendo's weird discs were my thing. But yes, I love the tiny little 1 gigabyte discs that they had on the GameCube. I know they were just trying to combat piracy, but I think you could still put a regular DVD in there eventually and just still make it work. But yeah,
they said big lovers. So BM, Triple X, and Leisure Suit Larry were on GameCube. We have to find out how many GameCube games are there where you can see breasts.
Yeah, we should. That could be a segment in the next couple weeks. But
two.
I definitely saw the BMX Triple X breasts because I definitely rented that game. So
nice.
Yeah, nice.
Pervert.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we'll get. I wonder if the Leisure Suit Larry on GameCube actually. What are we talking about this? Let's move on. All right, Jeff.
I think we did our Zelda tier list a few months ago now.
Yes.
And we moved Ocarina of Time out of the top tier and had it like at least I think the tier down.
I think we had the second best tier.
Second best tier, right? Okay. And I was a big part of that work because I was like, yeah, it just doesn't hold up quite as well for me as some of the other Zeldas. Where like it was definitely important at the time, but when I go back to play one of these games now, it doesn't do the exact same things for me as some of these other games. I'm going back to play because I hadn't played it in quite some time, and that was part of like me getting a 3DS and stuff and getting it on there, whatever. That's the whole thing. But I got it on the 3DS, and it is so far I'm really loving it. Like the first time I played it, but I'm not far into it. But it's like all the basics are there. I'm letting myself just sort of like experience the story again. Running across Hyrule Field definitely is never going to feel like it did the first time because like then it was like you hadn't seen that before, and now it's just this big empty barren texture, and it's not nearly as cool as it was.
There is something to be said about big empty barren textures sometimes, though.
So yes, it's got a vibe, absolutely. And at night when the moon comes up and then all the guys coming out of the ground and stuff, like the skeletons or whatever, that stuff is cool. But definitely the best parts are the quests and then the dungeons, and that stuff is still really holding up for me for the most part. So I'm gonna keep playing this and report back and like let people know like if it moves up on my tier list.
I guess the only reason why it's not like on that top tier for me is I just don't have like this personal connection with it. Like for whatever reason when it came out and when I was like younger, I didn't love it then, and maybe I should have. I don't know why. I definitely liked it a lot. I definitely played it. I don't know if I beat it back then. I definitely watched other people beat it, like my brother. But I don't know. I just never really felt like, oh, this is one of my favorite games, and I have this connection to it. And I developed that with Wind Waker big time, and that's why Wind Waker will always mean a little bit more to me.
Yeah, it was definitely it was the thing where it came out, and it was the biggest deal in the world to me. It was like, this is it. This is the game I've been waiting for. Because I was like, Link's Awakening is the one I fell in love with. So I like had this Zelda love that was like more than anything else. And now they're coming out with this 3D Zelda after releasing Mario 64, which is incredible. Another of my favorite franchises. They turned it 3D, and look how good it is. And so Ocarina of Time came along, and it was the biggest thing. And playing it at the time, it really was incredible.
You can't overstate its like importance for like a 1998 game. It's insane.
Yes, it is
what they accomplished there.
Unbelievable. And it's just the problems are just like, can it recapture that magic for me now? And I think there's a chance. I'm giving it a chance.
I mean, all of these Zelda games after that were just kind of, especially the 3D ones, were just Ocarina of Time like clones / successors until Breath of the Wild. So.
Well, yeah, you know, not counting
which
Majora's
itself
Mask.
was a link to the past kind of interpretation, anyways.
Exactly.
But yeah, even more so, they really followed what Ocarina of Time. Even Skyward Sword, which you're playing it now, it's still very Ocarina of Timey.
Yep.
And good ways. Gosh, I just been playing through that Streets of Rage 4 DLC on my Switch, which added like the 3 new playable characters. And like first it's like, I'm just gonna see how this character plays, and it's Estelle, that kind of police lady, and then I end up beating the whole game again. And then last night I'm like, all right, well, they added Max in. He was from Streets of Rage 2, so let's play as him. See what he's like. And then I like played through half of the game again, and I'll probably beat that today.
Wow.
Yeah, so they could just keep adding characters to that game, and I'll just keep playing through it, I guess, until the end of time, because I like Streets of Rage.
I mean, that's what I was doing with Streets of Rage 2 anyhow, just playing it forever, for over and over, once a year at least. At least since I met my wife. And so yeah, having another game in that series to do that with is fantastic.
You know what's funny is, what I have not done with Streets of Rage 4 yet, I think, is actually play it with somebody.
Really?
I don't think I've touched 2-player mode. No, I don't even know if I want to now. It's like so much of the fun for me is like, okay, I got to throw all the people on this side over to that side, so make sure my spacing's correct and the position. I feel like having another person is just gonna mess things up.
It's gonna get you out of your.
I'm not control my own destiny there. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it now, to be honest. But there's one more character. Somebody from, I think he's in Streets of Rage 3. I can't remember his name, but he was like one of the unlockable characters in Streets of Rage 3. So I better, chat's arguing about Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time. We want to settle this one for them right now and just tell them that Ocarina of Time is in fact better.
I think it's probably better. I think so, but I do intend to go and play Majora's Mask after this. So
I get it with Majora's Mask, and I just kind of talked about how so many of the games after that were basically just Ocarina of Time. Even though Majora's Mask is practically an Ocarina of Time asset flip, it is the one that does feel the most different.
Right.
Like I appreciate them kind of being adventurous with that one. Like more so than I expect Breath of the Wild 2 to be adventurous compared to the first. I expect Breath of the Wild 2 to mostly be Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, I hope it's a little bit different, but I'll be surprised. I guess I don't expect it to be at all. But yeah, I think Majora's Mask was interesting. There's definitely some, like, if you get into it, if you like accept it for what it is, like if you don't like let the 3-day timer thing sort of cause a lot of anxiety for you, there's a lot of cool stuff happening in that game. But I've never felt the urge to go back and replay it after beating it like way back when I first played it. And I want to now to kind of maybe see, maybe now that I'm older, my tastes have changed a little bit, and it'll be like the thing that I flip out for in the way some people do. But right now, looking back, Ocarina of Time was definitely my preference.
I didn't really get it until the 3DS version came out, and it had some of those improvements. And oh yeah, this is a great game. I really like it. I still like Ocarina of Time more. All right, Jeff, I think that's going to do it.
Yep. Do you want me to hit the outro button? It goes really fast. You want to do one of those?
Why don't you wait until we're like halfway through the outro?
Sounds good. All right, cool.
Give it a little time there.
All right. Should I tell them where they can find me and all that stuff, Mike?
Yeah. Where can they find you? Where can they get you?
Yeah. Here's where you can get me. Usually at Target, because I live in the suburbs. I am on Twitter at Jeff Grubb. The Discord is discord.gg/GameMess. It's free to join. Come hang out with us. The community is literally always popping off. There's always something going on there. Go to patreon.com/Jeff Grubb. That gets you to the secret channels in the Discord. And then I have the other podcast, How Games Make Money, that had a new episode go up last week. I think I'll have another episode going up this week too, I think. If not, it'll go up early next week. But yeah, you can subscribe to that anywhere, and I'm still planning to put those videos up. As for the giveaway, I will handle that today. So
there you go.
If you want to sneak in like a last minute entry, you could still do that, but I bet most people listening have already done that. And that's for I have it over here. the Ori games. So yes, I will handle that today. Once and for all.
You ran that poll. You want to? I'm going to end it. I'm doing it.
Okay.
And it's you asked, does Mike equal Mario and Jeff Luigi, or does Mike equal Luigi and Jeff equals Mario? Mike is Mario is 53%. So you're Luigi.
Yeah. It used to be there was a much bigger gap for a while, and
there was actually, and I thought,
closer. So. Yeah, now it's widening it again. So 54%. Let me end this thing. So yeah, 54% says that you're Mario and I'm Luigi. All right, that makes some sense to me. Yeah. Although I do think I have Lou Albano vibes a little bit more than you.
You do, but I have real Mario vibes. Not
all right, Mike. I hit the button. Mario. You have a minute.
All right. So yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Tokoto, TOLKOTO. Check out 90s Disney, my 90s Disney podcast, our newest episode about the closure of Mr. Toad's Wild Ride and the addition of the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh in Disney World is now up. Games Beat Decides, we do that on Fridays, so be sure to join us live on YouTube on the Jeff Grubb's Game Best channel. Next week, we're going to be talking about our favorite Wii game, so everyone start pondering that. Jeff, for me and you, we're going to say our favorite Wii game that isn't a Mario Galaxy game. We can talk about Mario Galaxy, but we have to think about something else, too.
Yeah, totally. God, yeah.
We have to be able to. All right, but yeah, I think that's it. Thank you all so much for joining us live. Thank you for listening.
Hit that like
to the
button.
Podcast version. Hit the like button. Leave a review. All that stuff. We really appreciate your support. The show's pretty new, but it's been doing really well already. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, very happy with it. I'm trying to think of what else would I go with on the Wii? Boom blocks, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. All right, everybody.
No one likes boom blocks.
Steven Spielberg created that for us. Bye, everybody.
Steven Spielberg's perfect.